all right. Welcome back to the channel. Okay, so last video I got thrown for a loop, got a little off track. I started talking about Mecca, and then the wizardess Mecca Isa, and man, that's a lot of juice right there. I'm gonna make a video about the similarities, and I'm gonna read from expanded footnote number 2, because I've been showing side-by-side stories all this time, and the Megillah talks about it. And so this is part 2 to the paper from Harold W. Percival, and it's really juicy. If you hopefully look, this is a website of his that you can go. They have all of his work on there. It's called thewordfoundation.org. And they have this book, I know, Thinking in Destiny, on there. So I was reading a little bit about him. He said, I do not presume to preach to anyone, and I do not consider myself a preacher or a teacher. And I wanted to know, so I went into the author's forward to read a little bit more, and he does break down who he studied under. It was the great Madame Blavatsky, and she was a student of the Mahatmas, some men from India who knew about reincarnation, knew about a lot of this stuff. So he does say down here that he ceased connection with all societies, and then he started going through all of these experiences. It sounds like he opened up his third eye. He said, light greater than that of myriads of suns opened in the center of my head. So if you want to read more about him and this experience he had, what he called being conscious of consciousness, you can check it out on this website, thewordfoundation.org, and both the papers are on it as well. This is part 2. We didn't finish with part 1. So he's talking about 4 different mirrors. It made me think of the Essene pyramid and the bodies of the human being when he talked about the physical, the astral, the mental, and the spiritual mirrors. And so I'm seeing a connection, and that's why I wanted to find out who was he studying under, because there's a lot of similarities with the Megillah. This is important. We're gonna get here and finish this paper up, but not on this video, because I want to read Ispaklaria. And I had put up a picture of the Lady Christ. Let me show you that. Her and Spock were holding up the same hand sign, except he only had one up, so it was a little coded. But then as I started to do my research, I found a picture with both of the hands, and it says that the temple priest would hold out their hands in this position to give their benediction. So here we have, I guess, Judaism. And also one of my subscribers did say that Spock was a Jewish man, and so that's where he got it from. I'm just gonna show you real quick about the letter Shin. We have a whole breakdown on the alphabet, and it tells us that there are, out of all of the 10 and the 22, that these 3 letters, Mem, Shin, and Aleph, are the 3 creators. It says down here that Shin hisses like fire and is active and warming. Shin is the masculine principle manifesting as primal fire. Spell it E-S-H, Esh Ha Shamayim. That means the fire of heaven. It says here the Hebrew word Esh means fire. Notice the SH at the end of the word Ish. Shin is a Hebrew letter that represents the SH sound. Notice the hissing sound of sh. That hiss, sh, 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 represents the sound of fire burning. Fire and the letter Shin are both considered active and masculine. And notice the Hebrew word for heaven, Shamayim, has within it both the masculine principle Shin and the feminine principle Mem. Thus, if we wish to experience heaven, we must likewise balance both principles within us. So that's what the Lady Christ is probably saying with these hand symbols. I don't know. But it says each man and woman should balance the two principles within, which is the marriage or intercourse of Jade and Jannah. Jade and Jannah are both completely balanced because they are in perpetual embrace, which is an inner condition, not a physical act. So Our Lady Jannah could be holding up the symbol for the divine masculine and showing us balance in this picture. I mean, I don't know who painted the picture, but there's a lot more to the mystery schools, and we're going to read about them in the next video. So, all right, let's go over now and read Ispaklaria, and then we have time. We'll talk a little bit more about these similarities. So here we go. The very title of this section tells you exactly how the Nazarenes use mirrors. It says, Nigoha, on mirrors to aid awareness of the inner reflections of our hearts and minds. And the reason why that mirror paper is important, man, is because he was talking about the light of the mind and stuff and how to focus a thought and to manifest and bring things into the physical world. So here we go. We're going to start now, verse 6. I, Nagoa, am a mirror and am also a maker of mirrors. I have long earned my daily bread by making mirrors for use in Nazarene white magic, even as Peri the Magid makes staffs. The mirror of glass is but a reflection of the mirror within. Each of us is a mirror. The mirrors I make are reflections to aid inner reflection. The mirrors I make are simple tools to bring our awareness to the inner reflections of our hearts and minds. I carry a mirror so that each day I can gaze into my own eyes and observe the changes of my face. For not every day are we near a body of water to use as a mirror. Our eyes and face reveal much about our physical, emotional, and spiritual health and well-being. As a healer, I can look into your eyes and inform you of what I see. But to self-heal, I use a mirror to study my own eyes and face. I also use the mirror to study parts of my body, especially parts that I cannot otherwise observe. With a body-sized mirror like the one that I made for the Mother Temple in Alexandria some years ago, one may stand nude and see oneself in total. This is done in private and not for vanity, but for self-observation. For example, one can see the evidence if one is growing excessively fat, and if so, pledge to alter his or her diet accordingly. Whether the extremely rare and expensive variety made of glass that I have made to support myself, or the moderately priced mirrors made of shiny metal, or a pond of reflective water, mirrors are a valuable tool for self-diagnosis via self-observation of eyes and face and body over the course of our lifespan so that we note and sometimes respond to changes. She says in verse 21, not only do Nazarene wizards use this Nazarene mirror practice to reveal much about the results of our physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual life experiences and practices, we also use what we call magic mirrors, any reflective surface for scrying. So this word scrying is spelled S-C-R-Y-I-N-G. Here it is. I Googled it. Scrying. And here's how you say it.
Scry.
All right. And so she's about to give us the definition of scrying because it's a little different than what I looked up here. Okay, because they say scrying is also referred to as seeing or peeping. It's a practice rooted in divination and fortune telling. It involves gazing into a medium, hoping to receive significant messages or visions that could offer personal guidance, prophecy, revelation, or inspiration. All right. I'm not going to click on the Wikipedia definition, but that's just in brief what they say scrying is. It's fortune telling, I see, but not according to the Nazarenes. It sounds like they use it for self-healing and self-observation. And she even says here to aid awareness of the inner reflections of our hearts and minds. So let's keep going now. Back in the Megillah, verse 22, she says, whatever reflective surface we use, we call it our speculum. She says a speculum in the context of the intuitive arts refers to the object that we focus on that has a reflective surface. So for them, a speculum is shiny metal, a pond of water, or the rare glass mirrors that she makes. She says only if we use them for oracular scrying are they then being used as a speculum. So here follows Nagoa's definition of the word scry. We're at verse 25, as it relates to the Nazarene oracular tradition. To scry is to use certain items, especially reflective items such as mirrors or a pond, but also other shiny meditative objects such as the full moon or a campfire or a candle flame for oracular gazing. On clear nights when the moon is full, I use the moon to scry. On other nights, I often use a mirror. Though the moon is not the sort of mirror in which we can see our own eyes reflected, it is a mirror of sorts, useful for inner scrying. Always remember, outer mirrors, whether reflective, water, shiny metal, expensive glass, or the full moon, they are only as helpful as they are able to aid your inner self-reflection. Okay, so that's the Nazarene definition right there. They are used, she says, to scry is to use certain items, especially reflective items such as mirrors, a pond, or any other shiny meditative objects, full moon, campfire, for ocular gazing, but she says they're only as helpful as they are able to aid your inner self-reflection. I wanted to look up another word before we keep going because she said speculum. She says a speculum, this is back in verse 23. A speculum in the context of the intuitive arts refers to the object that we focus on that has a reflective surface. So the shiny metal or the pond of water is their speculum. Even a mirror would be the speculum. And I was like, whoa, because I looked that word up and it does say that the word speculum comes from the Latin and it does mean mirror or a looking glass. Okay. But this is also a medical tool, that a speculum, and it's to see inside of the womb. And so I was like, whoa, that's like on so many levels. We're inside the mother ovum. She's telling us to use the looking glass to gaze, to show inner reflection. And that's the other thing, guys, is that there's so many levels here. That's why I wanted to finish reading the paper. If I don't get to finish reading it, the word paper, I would advise you guys to get to it. It's right there, thewordfoundation.org, and you can read the rest of it. There's two parts to it. This is the second part. He starts to talk about the physical, the psychic, and the spiritual mirrors, man. So it's really good. All right, last but not least, I wanted to put these 7 axioms on this mirror talk, and these are from the mirror talk that the Yair, Brother Day, gave to us when he sparked my flame, because he's the reason why I know about the paper from Harold Percival and all of this other information with Ispaklaria. It was all started with this man here, the Yair. So since he was sparking on my flame, I wanted to spark y'all's flame with the same. And hopefully these will plant some seeds in your mind as well. Axiom number 1, the universe, he spelled it U-N-I, verse, is self-reflective. Every subpart of every subpart. Number 2, reflectivity is a universal principle within and around us. It manifests in various ways in the various kingdoms, including the physical, astral, mental, and spiritual. Number 3, In the physical world, we reflect our surroundings, and our surroundings reflect us. Be the very I read to one another. He says good vibes. Number 4, when we see spiritual love reflected all around us, including in our own eyes, when we gaze in the mirror, then we know the bliss of the love mirror. Number 5, when used for physical, mental, and emotional wellness purposes, a mirror becomes a medicine mirror. Okay. Yes, because that's what Nagoa Hashikaini, she's going to get me for saying her name like that, but it's not. It's Nagoa Hashikaina. She said in verse 16, to self-heal, I use a mirror to study my own eyes and face. So that's a medicine mirror. So number 6, mirrors cannot reflect without the presence of light. We are light, and our degree of illuminative power is increased when we follow this teaching of Miriam. Fan the flame. Amen. I do think that that's what this hand symbol stands for, just in my opinion. Fan the flame. And then finally, number 7, the self-reflective, joyful universe is inherently humorous in a good-natured way. I wish I could remember the joke that he told too, because we all laughed. But it definitely is. The universe is inherently humorous. Okay, and it's just like Nagoa, because she is the jokester in the Megillah. You'll hear her cracking jokes when they're talking about serious stuff, but she definitely gets a laugh out of everybody. She even got one out of me today because I ended up saying her name, Nagoa Hashikaini. And to me, that just tickles me so much. So I'm gonna get out of here on that note. But thanks for watching, guys. I'll be back soon. I'm making some more videos about Mecca and Mecca Eza. And look over there, Google Saudi Arabia and Mira, and you're gonna be like blown away. But if not, just wait for me. I'll be back with that information soon. They are doing something with mirrors over there in Saudi Arabia. Yes, sir, they are. I'm gonna get out of here now before I get in any more trouble with Nagoa. All right, thanks for watching. Peace.